Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. When John Marshall was found shot dead inside his Range Rover 5 months after the Rettendon killings, speculation was rife that the deaths were linked, especially as the Billericay car dealer had been a former partner of Pat Tate's and the pair were both keen on bodybuilding. The motive certainly wasn't robbery, as £5,000 in cash was found on the dashboard of Marshall's vehicle. But Detective Superintendent Mike Gamble, who headed the murder inquiry, said, "There is nothing to suggest Mr. Marshall was anything other than an honest businessman." He said, quote, "He was in a car business partnership with Pat Tate about 12 years ago, but because of Tate's behaviour, John Marshall got out of it. The worst Mr. Marshall got up to was smoking a bit of cannabis, snorting a bit of cocaine, and he avoided paying his income tax." He added, quote, "You don't need an O-level to sell cars. You just need streetwise connections and a bit of muscle, and Mr. Marshall would deal in anything. He could go into a scrapyard in the morning, buy a written-off Mercedes for £8,000, sell that, buy something else, trade that, and end up with 5 locked-up garages full of stuff in Kent at the end of the day. Money very rarely changed hands. For example, he would ask a builder who owed him £5,000 to put a roof on his house instead. The same with the swimming pool in his garden. He had energy and was quite a good businessman." The following newspaper articles from the 21st of January 1998 with the headline, "Key Witness, I'm a Liar." There were 9 long weeks of prosecution evidence for the Old Bailey jury to mull over. But among the dozens of witnesses who took the stand, only one, Darren Charles John Nichols, offered a link between Wombs and Steele and the murders. He was a brave choice for a star witness. Now aged 32, he was already a known criminal, sentenced to 3 years in prison for conspiracy to distribute counterfeit currency on November 19th, 1992. He is also still to be sentenced on firearms and drugs offences. During 2 weeks in the witness box, he admitted he was a liar who had stitched up friends. He was also forced to admit that he wanted to see Wombs and Steele sent to jail. He met Steele in Hollesley Bay Prison in Suffolk in early 1993. The pair became friendly when they shared a cell. Nichols was released in May 1994 and they kept in contact. It was his claim that he was the unwitting getaway driver for the killings, after he had been arrested for them himself, which led to Wombs and Steele being charged with triple murder. But there were many discrepancies in the interviews Nichols gave to police. Perhaps the evidence that could have discredited Nichols most was the allegation he had been involved with an Essex police officer dubbed corrupt by the prosecution. Nichols became involved with the policeman, known only as Detective Constable A in court, only weeks after the shootings, and according to the prosecution they plotted to board a North Sea ferry and steal £150,000 being taken abroad to buy drugs. They planned to make amphetamine, then use it to set up 2 men who had displeased Nichols. Stole drugs and then dished them out like sweets. Arranged for Nichols to sell drugs to customers, then pass on their names to Officer A so he could arrest them and win promotion. The following newspaper articles from the 21st of the 1st, 1998, with the headline, "Cold Slaughter in the Snow." The 3 men lay dead in the Range Rover. The blood, seeping from gunshot wounds to their heads and bodies, had stained the slushy snow red. The gruesome scene that confronted Peter Theobald and Ken Jiggins that morning is unimaginable. They had gone to feed 800 pheasants kept in fields at Peter's 130-acre White House farm. But before they could reach the birds, they stumbled across the metallic blue Range Rover and its grisly contents, sparking a major police investigation that would uncover tales of drug smuggling and moonlit beach landings to rival any thriller novel. The F-Reg vehicle was parked in front of a gate. A sign on it read, "The use of guns or any other activity which disturbs people or wildlife are not allowed on this land. Enjoy your visit." Those words meant nothing to the killers. At first, Ken and Peter thought the men inside the Range Rover were asleep. But the two slumped in the front seats had hideous head wounds and congealing blood dripped from their noses and mouths. Behind them, a third man lay with a severe stomach wound and his bloodied head resting against a smashed rear window. The car interior was splattered with red. Quote, "It was a sight that will live with me for the rest of my days," Ken later admitted. The scene for the execution was Workhouse Lane in Rettendon, off the busy A130. The news stunned the sleepy village, home to 1,500 people, one shop and two pubs. For the first few weeks, flowers were left at the murder scene, laid in the dead of night. One paid tribute to Tate. "A wonderful man. Poison did this to you." That sentiment was not shared by many. A pensioner calling at a newsagent's near Muscleman Tate's Basildon bungalow said, "There will be no tears shed for them round here. All three were parasites who preyed on kids. I'll be raising a glass tonight to the man who killed them. I only wish he had got 20 more." The deadly cartridges were fired from point-blank range using a pump-action or self-loading shotgun. Experts say the victims were taken completely by surprise, shot once to immobilise or kill them before their bodies were pumped with further shots. Rolfe, the driver, was probably the first to die, shot through the back of the head. Another wound to his face was a staggering 12 centimetres by 5 centimetres, and the fur collar on his anorak showed signs of burning. Detectives found the Range Rover's ignition was off, but the automatic gear shift was still switched to drive. Rolfe's foot was on the brake and his hands were on the steering wheel. He looked as if he had pulled up at a set of traffic lights. Tucker, sitting beside him in an anorak, was next. He had his hands in his lap, one holding a mobile phone, and his legs were still crossed. He was shot 3 times, twice in the face and once in the back of the head. The only one who may have known what was coming was Tate, dressed in a black leather jacket in the back seat. He also had a mobile phone in his hand with the strap wrapped around his wrist. He had taken a shot in his stomach, damaging his liver, another to the head and a bullet graze across his scalp. The Range Rover was eventually hoisted away, still carrying its morbid cargo, and forensic experts searched it with a fine tooth comb in a bid to find clues. Although 8 shots were fired, they discovered only 7 cartridges at the scene, all from the same gun, and a crushed area of vegetation, as if someone had lain in wait. The motive certainly wasn't robbery. Rolfe was carrying 104 pounds, Tucker 870, and Tate 480 pounds. The mystery facing detectives was not that someone wanted them dead, but that the killers had managed to lead the streetwise pals, unarmed, down the lane like lambs to the slaughter. If you would like to learn more about the Range Rover murders, then click on the video in front of you now. You will also see the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. Many thanks for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.